If the weather dooms, I'll find a shell, cover my flower of faith, till through the darkness, while blooming anew, my speed will be slow, but sly as shine to catch, until the shadow fades. The lowly, inherited beams, lifting up the way of all the failures, like the light feathers, that fear won't scare me. I know to stand up again, with 10,000 ways of Hyena's greed. Once I catched the shooting star, enchanted with its twinkles, I follow its way too high. But it's hard to pass the thorns. It pricks feet and bring angels fall. But who would lose this chance again? I garners up all the strength again in my heart and made courageous will. Every day I wait for the sun to rise and again climbs like a creeper's vine until the cloudy shade sweeps away my shiny eyes meets plain blue dome. That's how I wear cape of comfort. That's how I rejuvenate my ways. That's how the story of the end begins. But you know, Lord given me wings, invisible to all, figures me in limit, that scorching wave to foil. In forest of hollow pride, going to flow the crystal water on the bolshy rock, shape it with charm in the middle of towns, times to choose. Some follow lion's brave roars, but I'll choose Hyena's greed to pray every day's feast.
That was Kanan Parmar reading her poem 10,000 Ways of Hyena's Greed. You're listening to A Poet's Work, a podcast where you will hear the poems from poets around the world across multiple languages. I'm your host, Ashwamegh. The podcast features a new poem or a poet every week or sometimes bi-weekly. Coming back to our guest of this episode, Kanan is a young poet based out of Kadi, Gujarat. She has co-authored 2 books, World of Women and The Act of Perseverance, which includes her selected poetries. She is also working as co-compiler of an upcoming book. You will find the links of the book in description. She lives with a dream of opening an art gallery to help emerging artists to showcase their crafts and creation. Her poems convey the message, love yourself, love everything you have been given. I sat down with Kanan and talked about poem you heard and Kanan's life around poetries. Here's another poem by Kanan called Treason of Dreamland, followed by our conversation.
Last night, in my dream, something happened, magically fills that moment. I hoped it may come out of that dream next morning. Suddenly, someone told me it's unnecessary to hold on that thought of yours. I became conscious, feeling rotten, underrated my own will. I, myself, became against it, tossed it away too far. Now, couldn't see even where I'd thrown that piece of neck of mine. Abundance or abundance is a choice. I know now, bowing others while standing on paper of leaving the dream on stake, called treachery to land where you dream to you. Now I often feel I have been the traitor for the treason of my dreamland, no one else.
10,000 Ways of Hyena's Greed. What is this poem about and how did you wrote this?
The poem is about the efforts that you give in particular task, and the poem is of a book which is the title of the book is The Act of Perseverance.
Mm-hmm.
It is an anthology that I have taken part in. And in this poem, I have just analyzed the personality of an animal. He is very impatient and very greedy in nature. So I've just observed his personality and trying to detail the things in this poem.
Okay. And in the last line, you are comparing like lion's roar with Hyena's greed, right? How does that line go with the theme of the poem?
In this line, the hyena's greed is like he is trying to achieving something for what for the goals that he want to achieve.
And how much time did it took you to finish this poetry? It was long or
Uh,
short?
honestly speaking, honestly speaking, I have taken only half an hour. It is a combination of three different poems.
Okay. And you wrote these three different poems at different times, or it was
Yes,
like
at
written in one go?
different point of times. Yes.
And like the time you take to write a poem, is it long or short? And does this same apply to every poem you wrote?
When I write a poem, it particularly based on my feelings. Why do I write poems? Because I have a habit of overthinking, and during this pandemic, I started writing. The thoughts and the thinkings always surrounding my mind. So I started writing. I take a pen and paper and I started writing whatever the thoughts I get, and I make it into a poem. So it depends on the thoughts, like the what I am feeling right now. It takes few minutes to write into poem.
Okay. And after writing a poem, do you edit it in future, or do you leave it as it is?
Yeah, if there is some theme, for if I am working for an anthology or an book, so I rewrite it later. But as for me, if I write for myself, I never rewrite it or never edit it.
And
Yeah.
in the poem Treason of Dreamland, what was this dream about, or the idea which you feel like you have been the creator to?
Treason of Dreamland, it is written when I was watching a dream of becoming what I wanted to be. But due to some reasons, I just left the dream behind and follow the things that people told me.
Mm-hmm.
And the feeling that I have thrown whatever I have gifted by the God. I have thrown just everything,
Okay.
and after some time, I've just realized that no, I shouldn't drop it. I shouldn't wasted what I have given by the God. I should have invested. I should have invested in my talents. I should have invested in what I've gained in this life. So I need to achieve. I need to gain more than what I am given.
When you will say that you started your journey as a poet?
In pandemic, I started writing small little poems, like 4 or 3 lines poems. Then I started writing more than 3 or line poems. Then I
Okay.
started writing stories. I always try to write poems because honestly speaking, I don't like grammar, but I do like writing words and statements and the feelings that I'm thinking and all. So I usually write poems because it doesn't necessary to have a proper grammar in that.
So you started writing poetries in this pandemic?
Yes, yes. In
Awesome.
2020.
Awesome. That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah. And when you look back to your first poem, do you feel like the poetries and your current style of poetry is little different or changed since then when you write poems now?
Yeah, it is changed because when I write poems, usually in earlier times, what I write is like I've been that day and I've been in a worse situation, like simple thoughts. But now what I write is the way I write is improved. The expressive level of my thoughts is improved.
And like apart from poetries, what do you like to do most?
Apart from the activities of writing, I like to do fine arts. I'm an artist. I actually make paintings more than poems, and it is my basic, you can say, forte. I love to do paintings, and I'm
Awesome.
very less talkative.
Okay, so you like to express your feelings and the words you have in mind via without speaking and using art as a form of your
Yes,
expressions,
totally
right?
agree. That is
Yeah.
the main thing, that I don't want to talk. I want to talk less, and I want to express it through my artworks and through my dancing and through my poems.
Yeah, I mean, like expressing without saying is another level of poetry, kind of.
Yes,
You are doing poetry, but like via different mediums.
yes. And actually, I do exhibitions and all.
So you present
Mhm.
in exhibition or you organize that?
I present in exhibitions.
I
Mm.
mean, how do you feel like when you are presenting your art to the audience? How do you feel?
It's like your own thoughts has been presenting in front of the world. Your thoughts has been reviewing by the people, and that's an awesome feeling that you ever get.
That was my conversation with Kanan. Thank you for listening to this episode. Once again, my name is Ashwamegh and you're listening to A Poet's Work. Each episode of A Poet's Work features poems and conversation with poets. New episodes releases weekly or bi-weekly. If you like this episode, do share or give a thumbs up or subscribe wherever you are listening to this to be notified about the new episodes. We will close out this episode with Kanan's poem called While Living the Life.
The stars, showing their twinkles, the moon, confined by sunlight, fills the gap by appearing in the dark. How the mankind forgets to show love to each other, no matter what everything happens, as destined to while living the life. However, my affection manages itself and try to collect love for the world. The cruelty people carry in their hearts will lead to no humanhood, no matter what everything happens as destined to while living the life. When babies first mourn, collect all smiles of their folks, nature's telling us there's always a journey of pain to joy, no matter what everything happens as destined to while living the life. As of now, waiting for miracle of constant belief in soul that someone will be greater than the God and guides us the path of being human no matter what everything happens as destined to while living the life. Getting wrinkles, still that source of happiness is missing, have charging of spirituality only left, spend every single day for that one moment of peace, but there's no more time left while living the life. Everyone thinks for that one moment which never arrives. That moment is here to live. Burden on Mother Earth will fluctuates. Whenever the time summons, will be ever ready, no matter what everything happens as destined to while living the life.